Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of 4046. This time we'll be talking about a condition that's affected me my entire life and will affect me for the rest of my life. I'm not unique. Quite a high proportion of the adult population in this country, the Western world and potentially abroad, suffer from this, so it's not rare. It's not unheard of. It's a condition called dyslexia. Now, dyslexia is where the sides of the brain that controls language, learning, numbers, etc. isn't the same as most average people. From a very young age, I was state-mented, which means I knew there was something wrong, so they did some tests, and at the age of 4 they identified that I had dyslexia. Now, to be clear, this wasn't my own doing. You're born with this. You can't, there's not really any way of preventing it, although potentially in the future things like gene editing, etc. will probably make it less severe, because as with everything else, dyslexia can vary in degrees of severity, just like any other learning difficulties really, but this particular one I have lived with all my life and learned to embrace. I think the biggest issue is not to treat it as if you're special, because you're not, because a lot of people have this and undiagnosed for many years, but also at the same time you're still you. No matter what happens, it may potentially shape your days, but I don't think it does. You're born with it and it doesn't get any worse. However, it can be managed, just like many other things these days. For example, my brother didn't just only have dyslexia, he had dyspraxia as well, and both of those in concert are not particularly good. However, he has overcome this and has a degree, so he didn't get as much support as myself. He's a more pragmatic person, and he has a drive, and that drive is quite all-consuming, shall we say, for better or for worse. That has enabled him to get a degree and get a first, which is not easy. But getting back to myself, I was state-mented. I went to a school, a normal state school. However, this school had a special needs department. They taught me how to write, how to read, and how to do maths. Because I was one for speech therapy, and I do apologise if you get a message. I use the phone as my way of stopping the camera and starting the camera, so I do apologise. And yes, that is what my washing machine in the background. But anyway, they taught me how to read, how to write. There were certain things that you could put on pencils, because we mostly used pencils then, which helps you to get a better control of the said pencil. So it was like a pencil topper, but one that was on the end, the business end of said pencil. I learned to read. My reading level advanced very quickly. By the time I was 13, I was reading adult books, and every book that I read I enjoyed, because it's just an original story about many things. One of the first science fiction books I ever read was the Iron Man, at the time by Faber, but I suspect a different publisher has it now. But it was just about how someone there is this big man in pieces made of iron, and slowly but surely manages to put itself back together to become whole again, and has a relationship with the town, the small village or town that he's in. And that had quite a big effect on me, because it was out there. It was I've never seen anything such as that on television. I was yet to watch the late 70s, early 80s science fiction that we get in the late 80s. So it was something completely different. I didn't at that time think, oh, I need more and more and more. I read quite a lot of Roald Dahl books. The original books were great. They really were. They were full of colourful characters. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, for example, which most of you will know, and the Western world knows quite well. And the effect, well, almost like a morality tale. It was quite something. Matilda was amazing. I mean, it had a happy ending. Things like Charlotte's Web. I mean, Charlotte's Web was really sad at the end, but it sort of generated hope. You know, most of the stuff I was reading at that time were quite positive, well thought out, pleasant, and I still enjoy reading some titles today. I don't get to read as many as I used to, because much of the time in my youth I was a bookworm. Before I could go out as an adult and socialise like an adult, books were my everything. You know, it's just like how some people may play sport, or some people may be a good artist, or whatever. You never, it's like riding a bike, you never really forget how to do it. So, I went through primary school, my handwriting never improved. That is the part where you can tell, if I was to write you something, you would know immediately that I was dyslexic. That is my giveaway, that's my tell. On speaking to me, you wouldn't think that. I mean, I discovered so many new words and could spell many of them, and it was a form of expression, really. And then I discovered science fiction. I didn't stick solely to science fiction, although at the moment I am. But there are many things to read. Some of them are marathons in their own right. I would like to get through Great Expectations at some point, because it's classic literature and it's something that isn't going to be changed. The problem with Dickens is most of his stuff was pretty grim. I mean, Oliver, for example, is well known. Theatrically, film-wise, it's very well known. Same as A Christmas Carol, which there have been many versions, and still arguably the best one is probably the one with Patrick Stewart in. You know the one I'm talking about. And things like that, really. Then I went to secondary school. That's quite a big change. I mean, in the US that'd be called high school, but it's quite a transition. The library that I had in the primary school, as beloved as it was nothing compared to the library that they had in this school, in this high school. I will not mention its name because I don't think that's relevant, but just to give an idea, at the time, although I don't think that's the same today, this particular school people fought to get into, because not only could it deal with special needs such as learning difficulties, etc. It also dealt with the hearing impaired as well, so it had a very good all-round support for people. I met quite a few different people with different abilities, and that school made you believe that you could be the best you could be, which is a positive message. I think that headmaster at that school tried to have many strive to be the best they possibly could be, and it never judged you on if you didn't do so well. It would always assist and help you to develop in your ways. I mean, the only thing I would have changed now is the choices I made for GCSE, but that's immaterial. I can't change that now. But I did get support because high school's the next level, so I did get a little bit of support as well as they could, to the limits of what they could do. The biggest problem with what I was doing there is I got a little bit bored. I'm ashamed to say, but I got bored of the subjects I'd chosen. I chose geography, double science, possibly English, I think, if I can remember rightly. And unfortunately, I got through, but I didn't do. If I was to redo the GCSEs now, I'd try a lot harder. I know you can redo them, and I may try to find time to get some better grades, because the biggest problem in this country is GCSEs as well as A-levels can affect your chances of procuring employment. Luckily for me, I didn't just stop at my GCSEs. I did A-level or General National Vocationals, which are the same equivalent as A-levels. So I did the equivalent of 5 A-levels. But it's easy to say, isn't it? It's easy to say, oh, I could have done this differently, I should have done that differently. But if it wasn't for the support that I got, I wouldn't have got anywhere near that. I'm quite thankful that I at least was shown that I could be more than my parts, but also be my own person and sort of believe in myself in a way. And I think you could take that in your own personal lives. Sometimes we take for granted how far we are. Even if you get to a point where you're trying to do a little bit of self-improvement every day, that's a good thing. I don't do that, unfortunately. I'll try to do the best that I possibly can that day, but I don't try to improve, and that is something I need to do a bit more of. I suspect there's some great subscribers out there that probably do their best every day and exceed their expectations. So this is a very good thing. If you've got dyslexia, please let me know in the comments. I was lucky. I was very lucky because I had some fantastic support. However, having spoken to people that are slightly older than me, they didn't have very good support. They were told they were stupid, they were told they were dumb, but that wasn't the case at all. All it was just the fact that they learned differently, a different learning style, and it's something to be, it makes you you. You don't stop being you as well at the same time, but the support that you get is all very important, just with anything really. But yeah, so I just wanted to tell you a little bit about dyslexia really. It's very well known. I'm not unique. I was very lucky, and I'm very grateful that those people invested their time in me to have me as I am today. So to those people, who will never probably see this video, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe, as I will continue to make more content, and it won't just be Babylon 5 videos, I promise. There will be some other science fiction dives, there will be other things, but I'm waiting until I can at least show you pictures of stuff, which with every passing day gets closer. I expect to start me dropping said videos September, October time. This is all when I can actually be able to get a new laptop and use the software to create better quality shows. Also think more about what I'm doing, what I'm producing. I never thought I would do a video about dyslexia today. So thank you very much for your support. Please like and subscribe.